Bitcoin and altcoins are crashing. Is the market over? Where are we headed to next? We have two experts joining us that are going to break everything down for us. We got Forrest and Max from Crypto Hub. Going to break down the charts and tell us, hey, where are we going? Why is this happening? Also, Hong Kong ETF numbers are in. Wow. We'll talk about that. Also, MicroStrategy bought more Bitcoin, but their stock is down. What's Michael Saylor going to do next? Also, big news from XRP, from BlackRock, and much, much more. We got so much to talk about. Let's just jump right in. Alrighty, we are back here today with Forrest. Interesting day in the market. Bitcoin holding steady above $60,000. I just want to real quick tell anyone watching. Don't panic, right? Tweeted this out today. If your thesis for your portfolio for a project has not changed, short-term price action doesn't really matter, right? If you got into Solana because you like that they're user-focused and they're fast and they're cheap, has that changed on Solana, even though the price has dipped down to $124? Has that changed? If the answer is no, why are you panicking? It's just short-term price action. Forrest, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you as always, my friend. Forrest, what are your thoughts on the markets today? Everything kind of, I don't want to say crashing, but they're at least bleeding off, right? Is 60K a level you're looking at for Bitcoin to hold? Obviously, we're not seeing that big bounce that we've seen maybe weeks prior where Bitcoin wicked down to 59 and shot right back up. We're kind of seeing sideways action at this level from a psychology standpoint and maybe from a chart standpoint, if you want to go over that as well. What does this tell you about the sentiment of the market, of the traders, of the investors, of maybe even the hodlers? And what do you expect over the next, maybe towards the end of the week?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Why not? Since it's easier to talk to a chart. So let me know if you can see that. Okay.
Yep, you're good.
Yeah. So I mean, more of the same of what we've been saying, right? We are technically sitting in a bull flag now. Just because it's a bullish flag doesn't mean it has to break to the upside. It just means that this kind of consolidation generally has a tendency to break to the upside, especially when you are in a bullish trend, and we kind of had one that was very, very similar, just on a much shorter time frame down here. We broke to the upside, and we're in a larger consolidation. For me, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, this 59 to 60K level, we want to see that hold. If we see Bitcoin break down below this region, it just opens up, and I don't even have to kind of throw on the volume profiles for you to just kind of see how quickly we moved up from level to level here with a lot of volume being put in around 50K. Personally, I'm of the opinion that if we break down below here, we see 55 to 56K rather quickly. And then 49 to 50K is probably where I would really want to be bidding for a bounce. I don't like the idea of Bitcoin going down to this level just because it starts to break your overall, this nice clean market structure that we've seen so far. It just kind of entrenches, puts a lot of holders underwater, entrenches some bearish sentiment. So I would like to see a much cleaner bull flag continuation pattern, clean pattern form here. And that would give, I think, a lot more confidence if we start moving to the upside again. But of course, I can't control what the market does. So whatever the market does,
Wait, you can't?
We have to be willing to trade both situations.
You say you can't control what the market does? Why not?
I can't. Unfortunately, I cannot control what Bitcoin does. I just have to let it happen and be willing to have a plan for any scenario it throws at us.
I think this is a great time to bring in our guest. This is his first time on the show. He actually, so you guys know, if you're watching our channel, Magic joins us every Tuesday. He couldn't be here today. So he sent Max, his business partner, and I'm just reading the text that Max. Let's bring Max in, and let me tell Max what Magic said about him. Man, you ready for this, Max? He said,
I think I'm good.
You are the open interest and order flow wizard. And so I was like, I like the sound of that. Let's bring him on. We're excited to have you. Welcome on the channel, my friend. I heard you have some very unique insight and takes on the market. We'd love for you to share that with our community. So please, if,
Shall I share it now?
any insight, let's maybe start with Bitcoin, right? So I had Forrest show the
I
chart.
mean,
60K is an important level. What are some things you're looking at as far as order flow, money flow, and open interest on Bitcoin?
so the title of the video is in regards to, where is this going to end? Now, my charting analysis actually does line up with what Forrest said there in regards to his levels. So if you use something called TPO, time price opportunity, you've got single prints. As with the low volume areas, we've got single prints there as well. Now, they're typically defended initially, but you can see this one here we had the other day was defended and it was a really nice rejection. But the fact that we've come down to these regions so many times, it's not looking so good to get that big wick that we've been getting previously when we've come down to here. And the real caveat today, so open interest, for those of you that don't know, going to the 5 minute here. Open interest is the sum of futures traders. So it's this thing down here. Basically, today we've had a really large increase in open interest. So it's been 8% almost, from about midday. So it's a really large increase. You don't normally see them typically every day. And what that means is open interest, if it's increasing with a trend, typically that means the trend is strong. So you would think this trend is going to continue. And the fact that we've been getting this slow bleed that we've been getting, another thing is slow moves typically tend to continue in that direction until you get your big wicks that you get in price action. You're going to the 2 hour. Look at these big wicks that we're getting here where they're signaling lows to us. We are not getting that now. We're getting a slow bleed in price, and it's just kind of painful for the people that are looking to get into longs, because while we still have the trap traders above, we're not squeezing them out. And people are entering thinking, price is going to go up here. Price has got to go up here. Price doesn't go up here. And then they become part of the statistics where they are now trapped in price action, and then people tend to panic, people tend to close their positions out, and that's what generates the big wicks that we see in price. And until we get that, this slow move is going to continue to those levels. And you have to think about the liquidity. If you've entered long anywhere here, where is your stop loss going to be? Okay, where are you thinking of getting out of that position? Where's max pain, as they like to say? Well, it's probably going to be below these lows, below the previous month low, which is a big one down at 59K, and it's quite a big drop from where we are, but it's very possible. Now, where could this turn around? It could very easily turn around. It just needs to get above. If I pop this on, the previous week low. Not ideal. I know it's quite far away. It's about $2,000 away. However, if we are to get back above the previous week low, back into this single print and, arguably reclaim the weekly open, well, then you're looking at completely flipping the script. Instead of having 8% of longs that have entered on, this covers multiple different exchanges. So 8% on all them exchanges are trapped long-wise. If you're to get above that, well, that's when you can start your short squeeze sentiment and start calling out, we're going to get a short squeeze. But until we get above them levels and start to trap them shorts. Unfortunately,
Max, sorry to interrupt you, but what is the price of those levels you say where we can start talking about short squeezes? That little green box.
Yes, sure. So the previous week low is at 62,300. The week open is at 63,000, pretty much exactly. So those are the two levels. If you want to draw a box, it's like $500. If you can get above there now, with the amount of trap traders that we have, that's when you really are going to be a short squeeze. And your first target is obviously the day high, but realistically, you're probably looking up to the gold pocket and back to the point of control from the entire range, maybe even up to the previous week high. Yeah, this region would probably be juicy because of just how many people have entered in positions down here, both long and short. But like I say, there's more trapped longs right now. So that's open interest and how you can really use open interest to analyze, where price is going to go. So given the fact we have more trapped longs, probably look into the downside. And then the thing that Magic says that I'm a wizard at is the footprint chart. So this is the footprint chart, okay? You basically are dissecting all the candles. So this is the 1 minute, but I can see in this candle here, I had 41 million. This is on Binance, $41 million of volume. And overall in this candle, there was plus 20 or 18 million positive delta. And positive delta means aggressive market buys. Okay, I'm not sure you can make it out. It's a little bit blurry on my screen. But you can see that we are getting buyers that are coming in and trying to push price up. But when you're getting candles such as this, and you're getting really aggressive buying here, 15.4 million buyers in this candle, more than the aggressive shorts, and we're trapping candles like this, it's not what you want to see. You want to see the delta. So it's called delta, okay? You want to see the delta moving in line with the trend. You don't want to be seeing trapped delta, and it's how you can kind of tell a good low from a bad low. And the low that we have now, looking at it, is pretty crap. You're getting only 11 million delta there, a lot of buying in it. Even the buying was struggling off the low. It's not that big, fast wick, really large volume spikes that we're used to getting when you see highs or lows. So it's using this tool to really dissect the chart and to make good analysis of highs and lows to kind of determine whether you think the low is set, let's say. And this to me just is not a good low. It also annoys me that we haven't come and swept 60K. People like to put their stop losses below whole numbers. 60K is a big target for it to be swept. So 60K, and then you've got the previous month low just looking really juicy. But yeah, right now, yes, it can go up higher, but until it regains them levels up at 62,500 or so, there's way more trap longs. And what do we see when we see trap longs? Well, people panic, people sell, and that forces price to go down. So,
hey Max,
for now, probabilities like the downside.
This is great. I want to ask you, Max. If we're in Vegas, so we have a lot of casinos and betting here. If you were a betting man, would you bet that we go to 50K first or 70K first?
Oh, I'll be super honest with you. I'm the worst at long-term projections of price. I always leave that to magic. I'm really good at local timeframes, maybe 5, 10, 30 minutes. I can tell you where price is going to go. If I was going to make that bet, 70K, I don't know. If we lost the previous month low and it wasn't regained, so the previous month low is at 59,100, let's say. If it lost that and it wasn't an SFP, a swing failure pattern, which means you come below and quickly regained, yeah, I would say 50K is on the cards. If you can get above the 62, 63Ks, well, then you're looking at the 70K, okay? But yeah, that's how I would word it so that I'm not putting anyone in the other viewers to put any money on what I say. So right now, you really do have to be patient because the low isn't good and we're in a kind of sticky area where it really could drop much further.
So Max, kind of to summarize what you said. So you're essentially waiting for that big wick, signifying that, hey, these lows are being swept. And does it matter as far as reversal in price? Hey, now we're in a slow bleeding downtrend, as you mentioned. Does it matter whether open interest remains high, or is there like a congruency of certain indicators that you're looking for to feel confident that, hey, the shorter term trend has changed? Because if you go out to the weekly or even the monthly, Bitcoin's trend is still up and to the right.
Yeah, I mean, the high time frame always comes into it, but I am a scalper day trader, so it doesn't really affect me too much. But when it comes to open interest, the best thing is just trapped traders. So I always try and go with wherever's most trapped. So right now on the daily, not the daily time frame, but on today's price action, it is the longs that are trapped. So I would be looking for shorts, and am actively looking for shorts to take me to the point where I think, okay, they've just been absolutely punished. They've been wiped out of the market, and everyone's just shit the bed, to be honest with you, because that's typically then the best time to buy. When everyone's absolutely panicking, Twitter's going crazy. I mean, I've already seen some people being like, why the fuck is Bitcoin dropping? Well, the market's going to do what it wants, but trap traders, they're just going to get punished by the market. So
Yes.
You have to figure out where they're getting punished, and that's the time to buy. And we're not seeing that yet. They've not dropped.
You
The
know,
open interest has just been climbing.
especially with such a leveraged market like Bitcoin. You got people trading 30, 40, 50, 100, 200x leverage, and they're getting stopped out, causing or cascading liquidations, and then just triggers the next one, and then the next one. And then, of course, like you mentioned, everyone starts panicking. Max, what a great, unique insight into Bitcoin and order flow and open interest. Where can people go if they want more of what you just showed us today?
Crypto Hub, same place you always go to find magic, just Crypto Hub all the time. I don't want to be an influencer in the space. I've just taken like a hard line against it, but I do enjoy the community that we've got there. And, because it's quite unique, some of the stuff that I teach, Magic's been my mentor for years, but then I kind of went on my side and learned this stuff. So it's why we make a good team, because I know his stuff. And yet I've got this other aspect where you don't typically see it in the markets too much. So come to Crypto Hub for us.
Yeah, it's great getting different multiple different viewpoints. And that is why we strive to bring, high quality people and people who kind of look at things through a different lens than we do. Because it's important if you truly care about your community to kind of keep them informed from different viewpoints and through different people's lenses. And so, Max, we appreciate you joining us, my friend. Thank you so much. We're gonna drop your Discord link in the description. There it is, right there. So guys, go join the Crypto Hub Discord, as Max mentioned, where all the magic happens, right? The hub is where the magic happens. Max, thank you so much, man. We look forward to bringing you on again, brother. Take care.
Cheers, everyone.
Awesome. Forrest, let's take a look at the altcoin markets here. Can we take a look at an Ethereum chart? We know Ethereum is down. It's under $3,000. We actually have some Ethereum news we're going to share. So can we take a peek at an ETH chart?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me share my screen here. Can you see it okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, so one thing that we are seeing on some of the shorter time frames is and I do agree. I think I agree with Max. I think the most likely scenario is we sweep that 60K level. But in the meantime, we're starting to see some bullish divergences forming where a lot of those buyers that are coming in, those longs that may or may not be getting trapped right now, they are starting to buffer price action a little bit. You can see the buying coming in on the RSI, and we're looking at the Ethereum chart right now, but we're making higher lows in RSI. RSI on the 15-minute is coming up, and we're continuing to trend downwards, and the rate of decline here for Ethereum is starting to decrease. If I zoom out on ETH, you can see we kind of have this busted ascending triangle. So normally this is a good example of, hey, not all bullish patterns resolve to the upside. This was a fairly decent ascending triangle. Not bad at all. And, you could say maybe a lot of times they'll kind of extend outwards and, take longer to develop. But this is a busted pattern that looks, somewhat bearish for Ethereum. That being said, I mean, we just look at the general price action here for ETH. It's pretty straightforward. You've got a downtrend line. You've got some slowing down of this general downtrend where we may be trying to form a bottom if ETH can hold above its most recent lows and make a higher low here. You may see some consolidation over the next couple of weeks that leads to some sort of a breakout. Otherwise, if Bitcoin does take that path below to 55K and then to 50K, you have, targets down here, 2,600, 2,500. You have tons of volume here at 22 to 26. Personally, don't see us going quite that low. That's not my base case. If Bitcoin did drop to 50K, I'm not sure Ethereum would drop a full 25% from here, maybe 5 to 10%, maybe 15%. But yeah, 2,600 totally on the cards. But the good news here is that if Ethereum does hold, and it's trying to, and it holds these recent lows here, and Bitcoin holds 59 to 60K, that range low, we're starting to see a rounding bottom, and that is usually bullish. So I think there's a strong case to be made that we form a local low on Bitcoin and ETH here in the next week or two, and we hold the general range that we're in. It's not until we break below that range where I start to get bearish about the overall, market structure that we're seeing. But it's just a very awkward time in all for both Bitcoin, Ethereum, the rest of crypto. And it's really an awkward time in what I believe is driving a lot of this, corrective price action to the downside for Bitcoin and ETH is quite simply the TradFi markets. TradFi markets are very, very uncertain right now. I don't want to cut charts and go off topic, but it's just, looking at the S&P 500 here, we've had, that big long uptrend, and then we've gotten our first big correction. We're looking at the 4-hour chart. So we had like this multi-month uptrend. We got our first big correction and our first big bounce, and we are just at a very indecisive time in terms of market structure. Are we going to form this bearish lower high, or is this a new higher low and we're going to go up to form a new higher high? Until we get those answers, and time will tell, it just is difficult for the market to come in with a lot of confidence at the moment. And that's just kind of infecting crypto, in my opinion, at the moment.
Awesome. Thank you for that analysis for us. I'm going to throw it over to Robin, who's in the cockpit of the production, to say hello to some new people. Robin.
All right. If you are new here, say hello. We'd love to give you an hola back at you. Saw a few new faces. We got Chris, BG, BGTT. We also have Kalel, Harris, Ultimate Mind Control, Wendell, Crypto Chef, Trade Institution, or Trade Intuition, Alex Wells, Devil, David P, James F, and also Travis. To all of you, hola! Viva!
So it looks like our pronunciation classes that we spend money on hasn't really helped. So money losses, money gained, I guess. Do want to give a big shout out to today's channel sponsor, Legacy Network. Legacy Network is looking to bridge the gap between personal development and GameFi, looking to help you make money while bettering yourself. Their app is going live soon. Make sure to join their Telegram to stay up to date on everything happening in the Legacy Academy ecosystem, and download the app once it goes live. So big shout out to Legacy for supporting the channel. Now, let's talk about, I mentioned ETH. Let's just go right here. Let's just go to ETH. ETH, where are you? You're right here. Here's Ethereum. Tell a little story about Ethereum and our friend Gary Gensler. So this is from Crypto T. The SEC has been secretly calling Ethereum a security for over a year. How do we know this? Because Consensus, the creator of MetaMask wallet and a big, developing arm in the crypto space, has sued the SEC, and through court filings and whatnot, come to find out that since April of 2023, the SEC issued an order explicitly referring to Ethereum as a security. Now, why is this important? Well, let's read what Patrick McHenry had to say. Gary Gensler might be on his way out. Who knows, right? What is it? Perjury when you lie? I don't know. Do they take an oath when they have those meetings? I'm not sure. Anyways, just months after a federal judge sanctioned SEC enforcement lawyers for lying to the court, new evidence shows Chair Gensler himself misled Congress. In testimony to the Financial Services Committee last April, Chair Gensler refused to answer questions regarding the SEC's classification of Ether. New court filings show this was an intentional attempt to misrepresent the commission's position. Classifying Ether as a security contradicts previous statements of the SEC and Chair Gensler robust consumer protections for digital asset markets. Committee Republicans will continue to hold Gary Gensler's SEC accountable, yada, yada, yada. So they were talking about ETH being a security, and then he goes in front of the financial committee and refuses to say whether the SEC thinks that ETH is a security. Let me ask you, Forrest, from a non-chart standpoint, from a narrative standpoint. We saw Uniswap pump up to, 11, 12, 13 bucks off the news that, hey, some of the fees generated, they were going to pay to the token holders. It ran up, and then bam, the SEC slaps in with a Wells notice. Uniswap drops 50%. Do you think with this news coming out, right, that the SEC has been trying to classify Ether as a security for over a year now, you think that could potentially hold Ethereum back from a massive rally, a massive altcoin rally? What's your gauge on that and the narrative?
Yeah, I mean, anytime there's uncertainty in a market, and I think XRP is one of the best examples, where XRP and Ripple got tied up with the SEC for years, and is still has things ongoing with the SEC. It's very difficult for investors to come in with that kind of uncertainty and risk involved. And it's not that, XRP is bad or Ethereum is bad. It's just when you have uncertainty, the market's going to opt for things that there's more certainty about. If there's uncertainty about Ethereum being a security, but Bitcoin is not a security, and there's no court cases ongoing about Bitcoin and it's got an ETF, you're just going to see a preference for investors towards Bitcoin versus Ethereum, or other investments that don't have this kind of red tape around them. So I don't think Ethereum is a security, and I think eventually we're going to have to get some resolution. And if we get clear resolution that Ethereum is not a security from the SEC and or from a court system, then yeah, that'd be super, super bullish, and that would remove that uncertainty. And I think you'd find a lot more investors are willing to invest in Ethereum if that's the case. But until we get that, yeah, I do think it's something that is already very likely holding back Ethereum at the moment. I think there's a lot of Ethereum's lower than it would otherwise be if people were more certain about this Ethereum ETF being approved, which is really just a result of the argument about Ethereum being a security or not from the SEC, or the SEC's classification of it. So if the SEC didn't believe it was a security, this ETF would be very likely to be approved, and I think Ethereum would be trading at a higher price.
I agree with you, Forrest. Very well said. Especially here in the U.S. Now, the beauty of crypto is it is borderless and global. And so, although the U.S. is the largest capital market, they're not the only capital market, right? We know South Korea is pretty big, Japan's pretty big, China, Russia. I mean, people across the globe have access to purchasing cryptocurrencies. And so, although obviously it's not a good thing that the largest capital market with the most amount of money, right, the world's reserve currency, that market is kind of hindering the growth with these bullshit Wells notices and lawsuits. It is what it is until Gary Gensler leaves, gets fired, or I don't know, he just has a come to God moment where he's like, you know what, guys, I'm sorry, which probably will never happen. Let's talk about Hong Kong. So there were some people saying, I think it was people in Hong Kong or some of the companies that issued these ETFs saying, hey, we expect the volume to surpass that of the United States. Well, they took in 121 million day one. More than all U.S. ETFs combined in the last 6 days, not since inception, obviously, or even on the first day compared to the first day. Another headline here, Hong Kong Bitcoin ETF saw an abysmal 8.5 million in combined volume. This is comparison to 655 million for the first day when it got launched here in the U.S., and potentially some news that people might be panicking over here. Grayscale shifts over 4,000 BTC to Coinbase, worth over $245 million. Now we know Grayscale launched their mini Bitcoin ETF, which has the lowest fees across the board, including BlackRock, Fidelity, and everyone else. But their GBTC, which holds, I think, still over 300,000 Bitcoin, that is at a 1.5%, which is like 5 times higher than the next highest one. And so we know Grayscale, or actually, Forrest, Grayscale does not use Coinbase as a custodian, correct?
That I don't know.
Okay. Maybe we'll find that out here. I don't believe so. I'm pretty confident, but hey, I could be wrong. I don't think this is, some people said, hey, maybe this is 4,000 Bitcoin that's actually going to Coinbase to custody for their mini ETF, while others are saying, hey, this is a sell-off right here. You still have people talking about Mt. Gox freaking 20 years later. It's just the spot we're in post-halving. We talk about this all the time, at least on this channel, is typically after halving, once the hype dies down, Bitcoin starts to bleed off, consolidates, gets kind of boring, and then bam, 6 months later, rocket ship. Michael Saylor is at it again. Is he running out of money for us? Because he only bought 120 Bitcoin this time. Is Saylor out of money? 122 Bitcoin for 7.8 million. That is what they bought in April, bringing their total cumulative holdings to 214,400 BTC. Speaking of MicroStrategy, their Q1 operating loss of $53 million kind of tanked the price of the stock after Bitcoin holding impairment charge of $191.6 million. Taking a look at the MSTR chart here, down 15%, $200. Still above $1,000. And if we zoom out here on, let's just say the 1 year, from the beginning, so from 1 year ago today, $328 stock price, now at almost $1,100. So almost a 4X from a top 6, 7, 800 company now, and I believe it is top 500. Forrest, I ask this question from time to time to Robin. I want to ask you, is it a good thing that one company, one person holds this much Bitcoin?
Is it a good thing? For the price of Bitcoin, I would say yes, because his hands are tied. He can't really sell it. I mean, I guess it could come down the line if he, gets over leveraged and we got a, huge Bitcoin crash. Could, MicroStrategy potentially have to sell it off, and could it become like a supply overhang? Maybe. I don't necessarily see that happening at current prices. But he's like he can't sell. If he sells even one Bitcoin, the entire market's going to front run him and crash. And then all the rest of his Bitcoin is going to be worth so much less. I don't think Michael Saylor can ever sell his Bitcoin, nor do I think he ever plans to. So it just acts as just a permanent sink for the price of, or for the supply of Bitcoin. So it's as good as burning it, in my opinion. I'd say it's net beneficial for the price of Bitcoin. For the centralization, decentralization, I don't think it makes a difference, because I don't think he's ever going to sell it unless, of course, something were to happen. Large drawdown in price, MicroStrategy has to go out of business and sell off a lot of their Bitcoin. But if that were to happen, Bitcoin probably goes like minus 90%, minus 99%, because there's no liquid. There's like, he owns so much Bitcoin. If they had to sell off their Bitcoin, everybody would be panic selling and it would be ugly. So, I don't foresee that happening. MicroStrategy stock seems to be, completely fine for the moment. I think it trades at a too high of a premium for me to go anywhere near it. It's trading at like, I think, a 75% premium over what their actual value of their Bitcoin holdings are at. So why not just buy straight up Bitcoin instead of buying MicroStrategy, which is overpriced compared to the price of Bitcoin? But I think it's probably a net beneficial thing for the price of Bitcoin in the long term.
Forrest, you brought up a point. Why would you buy MicroStrategy? Michael Saylor has done a few podcasts where he's talked about and answered that exact question. It's very intriguing and interesting. The picture he paints of why you should get your exposure to Bitcoin through MicroStrategy versus something like an ETF, or maybe even just buying it on your own. I'm not going to get into that conversation, but you'll find it on Twitter and X. You'll find it on YouTube. Just make sure you don't click on those videos that say, "Hi, Michael Saylor, send me X amount of Bitcoin. I'll send you double back." Obviously, those are scams. All right. Let's take a look at some other Bitcoin news, and we'll get into some XRP news. But first, I want to give a big shout out to a local Vegas company, Instagraphics LV. So you guys know we've been renovating the studio. We've had to wrap some windows, and these guys came by. They did such an amazing job that I wanted to give them a shout out, kind of supporting our local businesses here. And so if you're in the Vegas area, if you ever want to get a wrap on your car, on your fridge, I think they do a bunch of different things. We just got windows in the studio done, but a lot of the work they obviously do is on cars. But definitely go follow them on Instagram. The Instagram handle is InstaGraphicsLV. So big shout out to Tyler and that entire team over at Instagraphics. They did such an amazing job, man. All right, let's talk about this first. NASDAQ listed Alliance Resources, ticker ARLP, which is a $2.8 billion coal mining company, is mining Bitcoin and currently holds 425 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. We know the country of Bhutan, or Button, or however you say it, they've been mining Bitcoin since 2013. Could we see more of that? I think potentially yes. Again, the beauty of Bitcoin and crypto is it is global. The miners are going to go where energy is cheapest and where regulation is friendliest. So does that mean that miners will start leaving the U.S. for other countries, for other places? Who knows? But just some piece of news I wanted to share with you guys. Also, CZ is currently in his sentencing hearing where he can get anywhere between 10 months to 3 years in prison. Not going to get into the details, but he pretty much, I think he took a plea deal or something, or said, "Hey, I'll admit to this, this, and this, as long as you don't try to, put me behind bars for the max amount of time." But obviously, CZ has been a pioneer in our space. I haven't dug into his past, everything he's done, but hey, Binance held strong to the last bear market where everyone thought they were going to go under. I think one day they had $5 billion of outflows and they remained perfectly fine. Again, have they been perfect? No, but has really anyone in our space? No, of course, mistakes have been made. So kind of sucks to see this, but it is what it is. And then I want to talk about Eigenlayer. So this is pretty interesting. And I guess I'll bring Rob into this conversation here. But, I used to play a lot of poker here in Vegas, okay? And when you go and you play table games, you go and you say, "Hey, I want $300 in chips. I want to play this game." They don't ever ask you for ID. But if you end up taking chips off the table and go to cash out, they ask you for ID. Have you ever ran into that problem, bro?
I mean, I do got a baby face. So, I get ID'd everywhere I go.
Wow. Thank you. So,
well, there is a long history of my gambling winnings. And, one of my biggest accolades was when I was on the craps table and I rolled 77 sevens in a row.
I was missing that one. It's been a while.
And your boy got a hot hand, bro.
Wow.
Got a hot hand. What were we talking about?
Perfect. Thank you, Robin. So that is pretty much, I'm gonna tie the two together. That is kind of what Eigenlayer did, right? So they took ETH deposits from locations that ultimately ended up being geo-blocked from the airdrop. So knowing that, hey, people are staking, putting ETH up on Eigenlayer to get the airdrop. Hey, if you're from the USA, fine, go ahead. You can use the protocol. Hey, if you're from Canada, no problem. Airdrop time. Yeah, sorry, USA, Canada, all that ETH you put in our protocol. Yeah, we can't really give you an airdrop. That is literally what's happening. So I want to share this with you from Waz Crypto. Eigenlayer airdrop excludes USA, Canada, half of Africa and Asia, and all people who use VPNs. Also, big commotion is being made by their tokenomics, so people that did get the airdrop are not allowed to transfer them or sell them. So this is from DeFi Cheetah. There was another post I wanted to share, but these guys, they drew some weird stuff on the faces and said some words I don't want to share on the screen. But anyways, tokenomics, here you go. Total 1.67 billion, 45% to the community. So 15 to each of the stake drops, community initiatives, and ecosystem development. So 15, 15, 15. Out of 15 stake drops, 5% based on the snapshot on March 15th of this year, which 90% is immediately claimable, 30% to investors, and 25% to team and early contributors. Wait, that math does not add up. 29.5, 25. Is my math off here? 45? Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, so, Forrest, more than half of this went to investors and early contributors in the team. Both total of 55% are subject to a 1-year cliff and a 2-year vesting. Use case 1 at Genesis, users can stake Eigen to secure the Eigen data availability. Initial float seems 5%. Fully diluted value is pretty crazy. What are your thoughts here, Forrest? Is this something that I know you're pretty active in DeFi and airdrops. Is this something that you participated in? Well, I know obviously you can't do the USA, but what are your thoughts on this? And maybe share some insight to people who are trying to maybe farm airdrops, or what are some safe airdrop practices people should?
Yeah, I faded this completely. I've never really understood or found the idea of restaking your staked Ethereum for a governance token. It's just weird. It doesn't make sense. It sounds very Ponzi-esque.
Yes,
maybe there's some legitimate use cases here, but it looks like use case 1, stake Eigen to secure the Eigen DA. I mean, it just seems like a token for the sake of a token. I'm sure there's some complicated nuance to it that I'm missing, but I completely faded this. 5% initial float. I mean, this is very obvious. This is the same scam we've seen. Last cycle, we saw it a million times, and they're still doing it. Don't touch this. Just don't. It's going to probably pump super high in a bull market. If Ethereum goes to $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10,000, if Ethereum goes to all-time highs, this will trade as Ethereum beta, meaning it will probably be more volatile to the upside than Ethereum because it has a very low float, very low circulating supply. But once the top is in for ETH, this is going to go down only very aggressively because those investors, the 29.5% that is going to investors, the 25.5% that's going to the team, at 55, 1 year cliff and 2 year vesting. So that means after a year, they're just dumping their tokens, right? So, I mean, if this thing gets a I've heard rumors or predictions that this thing's going to get a $15 billion fully diluted valuation. That's like $7 to $8 billion that those investors and early contributors are going to take out
Forrest,
over the course of 3 years.
Forrest, that would put it in close to the top 10.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it launches at that price point, I'm just like, it's going to be one. If you want to see what it's going to do, go and look at what was the one that just Serum. I think it was Serum Dex, the Solana decentralized exchange that was like incubated by FTX and Alameda Research, had similar tokenomics and just went straight up in the bull market when Solana hit its all-time high. And then as soon as Solana hit its all-time high, it just went to zero. Because everyone, was, you had all those unlocks. It's just going to be a down only chart after it peaks. So it's a great. I'll be looking to short it. Like if once I think the top is in for crypto, I will definitely just be like long ETH, short Eigen, or long Bitcoin, short Eigen, and I think it'll make a great short for pair traders.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. This is something that I would definitely stay away from. It just sounds like a house of cards that's going to collapse using tokens that are already staked. And I'm not a developer. I'm not a computer scientist. So I could very well be wrong. But from like a common sense thing, like it's staked on ETH, and then I can use the same ETH that I'm already getting money on, right? APY on, and then stake it on another chain and get APY there and stake. It's just weird. Yeah. Plus the tokenomics.
It's 5% fully diluted valuation, so, or 5% initial float. So they're going to pump it, right? The investors and the early contributors, they're going to get on Twitter and they're going to pay, influencers and influencers are going to try to make you feel like you're stupid for not holding this. And maybe it runs 5 to, I don't know what it'll run to. I don't know what it'll launch at. But they will, it's in their best interest to try to pump this as high as they possibly can. And you'll see Twitter threads on it. You'll see YouTubers get paid to promote this. I'm staying far away.
Me too. I'm also staying far away. Who's not staying far away from the money printer is Janna Yellen. So she testified today. Looks like we're going to get more printing here in the short term. And then we have this from Carl Menger. U.S. interest payments alone exceed $1 trillion for the first time in history, exceeding spending on national defense. Jackpot, right? Jackpot for who? Not for us. So if we start getting money printing, right, going into election season, crypto is just going to absolutely massively rally, especially with the vehicles in place like the ETF now. So buckle up, my friends. This should be a pretty interesting one. And this from Zero Hedge. U.S. reveals it will borrow at least $1.1 trillion in the next 6 months, and golden crypto dump. So could we see a reversal potentially? Let's check in on the markets here, see where Bitcoin and company are. Bitcoin about to dip below $60,000, $60,050. Bitcoin dominance is still over 53%, which tells us, hey, the rest of the markets are bleeding off pretty heavily. ETH dominance at 16.4%. Volume at 82.5 billion, up 22%. So we know And there it is, Bitcoin under 60K. So 59,988. Some of the biggest losers over the last 24 hours. Say is down 13%. Near Protocol down 11%. Wormhole, Pendle, Beam, and Lido. As far as the last 1 hour, Akash Network, Arweave, Neo, Bitcoin Cash, and Dogecoin. Forrest, what are you doing in the current market sentiment? Are you DCAing? Are you waiting for certain levels to chunk buy? Are you kind of sitting on the sideline? What are you doing?
Yeah, I've been building positions throughout this entire correction for Bitcoin, spanning like the last 2 weeks. So, how long ago was it that we were down at these same levels? 12 days ago, we were down at these same levels. I've been DCAing into long positions in things like Dogecoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, because I think they're going to get an ETF. Optimism, because I think it's solid beta on Ethereum, and I think there's going to be some speculation on ETH going into that ETF decision in June 11th, I think is the deadline, maybe June 13th. And I just believe that we are going to see another leg up. Now, I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, I accept the risk. I'll cut, my stop losses, where they need to be cut. And I'll look to bid lower or reassess once we get better market structure. I still have some longer term spot bags and, some stuff like Trump token or whatever, because that's an election based bet that has nothing to do with current price action. Is all based on September, October, November election news cycle. But yeah, I think, like I've said, we are in a bull flag. We are in a bullish pattern, a bullish consolidation pattern. We are, on the backside of the Bitcoin halving, where we have a reduction in the supply of Bitcoin entering the market every day. And there's some short-term sell-offs and spikes and sell-offs in Bitcoin, probably from miners because their revenues dropped significantly. We're also in a period of time where, I've done some analysis on this. I just actually sent it out to the research hub for Sistine Research members yesterday. Where we're, go ahead.
Bro, that research paper, man, that was a real deal, bro. I read that thing in its entirety twice. Great job, man. That was such good insight. So big shout out to you, man. That was great. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
Yeah. So we're just trying to there's a certain type of behavior around buying and selling, particularly selling with regards to long-term capital gains tax incentives, right? And look, there's all sorts of buyers and sellers in a market. There's miners, there's, long-term holders, there's, there's short-term traders, there's perpetuals, but you can isolate to try to understand the buying and selling behavior of people who are wanting to hold for at least a year, especially if they're based in the US. But there's other countries that do have similar tax incentives where, hey, you pay a lower tax rate if you hold for over a year. And you can kind of see patterns in the market in the Bitcoin price action. And we're actually entering kind of a 6 month, 5 to 6 month time frame here where you would actually not expect a lot of long-term capital gains tax sellers to be entering the market, which is, it's one facet of the market. It is the profile of one type of behavior of selling in the market, but that type of selling, we're not expecting it for at least 6 months. Which I think is nice to know. It's it's like an added confluence to, hey, we've got the halving, we've got, this and this, and then we've got, hey, there's not a lot of tax selling going on right now, or long-term capital gains tax sellers going on right now, because there weren't a lot of buyers a year ago, right? We're entering a 6 month period of time where for the next 6 months, a year ago, there weren't a lot of buyers, right? So therefore, there should not be a lot of long-term cap gains tax sellers over the next 3 to 6 months. And I think that's another reason to be mild. It just kind of adds to the confluence of, hey, it's another reason to add to the bullish thesis. Does it mean that Bitcoin's 100% going to go up from here just because of that one particular, cohort of people are not selling? Of course not, right? There's a lot of other factors in the market. But it's a reason for me to be bullish. Among others. So I do think we're going to see another leg up here. But again, if the bull flag breaks down, if price action breaks down below 59K or so, and it holds below there, then I think we have a much tougher road ahead to get back up above $65,000, $70,000, back to all-time highs. But we'll just take it as it comes.
Just curious, how much time went into that research you did for that paper?
Probably 16 to 24 hours, 2 to 3 full days of research where I kind of went quiet and really dug in. And, it doesn't see, it's not a super complex thing. But by the time I wrote it up and everything and got it out and was able to kind of color code the charts to where it kind of makes sense to people and explain it, and also actually confirm, hey, there is a correlation here. There is a relationship that seems to be here, based on this, this type of selling behavior. I'd say 2 to 3 days of solid research and writing.
Man, that was some really good stuff, man. I'm actually going to drop that link. If you guys want that kind of research, man, I'm telling you, this dude is the real deal, Forrest. Use that link, and if you use that code in parentheses, you can save 25% off. So big shout out to you, Forrest, and the research. But here's my thing, right? You said it might be a harder road ahead. My thing here is, once that demand comes back, the buying demand comes back, it's going to be a lot faster move to the upside because of obvious reasons. One, the biggest one, the halving, right? There's less Bitcoin being mined and being potentially flooded into the markets every day. That got cut in half a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And so you also have 70% of Bitcoin that was bought in the last year has not been sold. You have the hodlers, you have the ETFs, you have people like Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy, you have countries like El Salvador that are buying Bitcoin every single day. You have that mysterious wallet, Mr. 100, which I'm curious when we're going to know who the hell that is. Once retail comes in, man, once retail comes in and that demand surges, I mean, you're going to see $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 candles. And I think that's kind of being on the what's the word I'm looking for? On the cautious side.
Conservative
side. Yeah. Thank you. Forrest, I want to talk about a big partnership with Ripple. So a new partnership came from Ripple. XRP price mobilized to the downside. Ripple made a big announcement today, announcing its collaboration with HashKey Group's Tokyo-based expert consultancy, HashKey DX, to introduce the XRP ledger-powered enterprise solutions to the Japanese markets. Japan, the third largest economy in the world, Ripple, a leading provider of enterprise blockchain and crypto solutions, has entered into a strategic partnership with HashKey DX. HashKey Group's, exactly what I went over. HashKey Group offers blockchain-powered supply chain finance solutions that have been widely adopted in mainland China. HashKey will introduce these supply chain finance solutions to Japan by collaborating with Ripple and SBI Ripple Asia, the joint venture between Ripple and SBI Holdings. Of course, I know you've been bullish on XRP with the stablecoin news. What are your thoughts on this news? We always come back to the point that in the U.S. there's a case. In the U.S. there's a case. Well, looks like they're kind of flourishing in Asia.
Yeah. Before I answer that, I will say breaking news just dropped. CZ from Binance was sentenced to 5 months, not 5 years, 5 months.
Yeah, you got me on a hook there.
I mean, you can do 5 months. I mean, I wish he wasn't serving significant time, but he's not going to waste away in prison for the rest of his life. So that's good.
That's awesome,
I just wanted to drop that in there because it's popping up
you.
on my feed as kind of big news.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So I don't know what supply chain solutions necessarily indicates, but it's interesting that they're going into the Japanese market because the Japanese market has a heavy appetite for U.S. dollars and U.S. treasuries, and they're a big center for foreign exchange. And my prediction is that as Ripple gets into the stablecoin space, I think they're going to try to get into like the on-chain FX space and real-world asset space. That's not confirmed. That's speculation, but very interesting that they're moving into the Japanese market. I'd be more interested to know what specifically those supply chain solutions actually entail and what those actually look like. 4 months, a correction, 4 months, not 5. So he'll be out by the end of the year, out in time for Bitcoin all-time highs.
I know, right? You know, Forrest, we had some other breaking news. Roger Ver was arrested
Saw that.
for mail fraud, wire fraud, tax evasion, and filing false tax returns. So this is the guy people say Bitcoin Jesus. Well, I guess they kind of jailed Jesus as well back in the early days of. I'm not trying to get biblical here, but so CZ 5 months. Roger Ver got arrested. We know there's a choke point is happening. You had the FBI come out with saying, "Hey, if I were you, I would not be buying Bitcoin or crypto from a non-registered whatever the hell they said." And people took that as, "Oh shit, are they going to come after us and either fine us or put us on a list of I don't know what kind of shit list they have over there at the FBI." So yeah, it was just pretty interesting. And then the last
They
thing I
locking
want to talk
everybody
about
up,
here,
bro.
what's up?
They locking everybody up, man. Watch out.
Yeah, I know. Literally,
Yeah.
literally, they're like,
But yeah. Then what was that? Sam Bankman-Fried's girl, the head of Alameda Research.
what'd you say,
Off-
Robin? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
So the head of Alameda Research.
Sam Trabuco,
No, the girl,
Caroline.
Caroline Ellis.
Caroline?
Yeah, she went off scot-free, man. And so
And a lot of people, not to get conspiracy here. Actually, I'm gonna get conspiracy. A lot of people have been like, "Where's Sam Trabuco? The dude was literally the other CEO of Alameda." Nothing. So people are
yeah,
thinking.
I think he
snitched.
left prior to the whole thing collapsing. And so I think he had
Still though,
he jumped
nothing.
ship.
Not even like, "Hey, come in. We need to
But
talk to
here's
you."
the
Or
thing.
"Hey."
Alameda Research was the money laundering and the manipulator of the books, right? They're the ones that FTX was front facing, customer facing, and all of the infidelities, everything that they threw the book at Sam Bankman-Fried for was essentially done on Alameda Research, and the person that ran the whole damn thing saw nothing. And then you got someone like CZ who is just running an exchange. Sure, he's not participating in the correct KYC, and he kind of flipped his flipped a thumb to the U.S. Yeah, that's against U.S. policy and sanctions, but still, at the end of the day, I feel like there's a lot of favoritism, right? And so there's a big target on the back of CZ. But real quick, I did want to give a little shout out to some of the new people here. We got Cantera, Coin U King, Joe C, Rick M, Octavius, also Mustafa, Damir, and Harpeet. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Viva
Las Vegas. So guys, markets are down. So today's video is gonna be what are the top 5 coins that me personally I am looking and are adding to my bag. And so I'll give you guys a hint. Chainlink was on there, Polygon's on there, and a few other ones. I won't kind of spoil it, but definitely want to watch that. And if you're a member, you will get that alpha first. Big shout out to everyone supporting this channel. Also, big thank you to Forrest for joining us. We are super excited. Our desk will be here today. Our very expensive custom-made desk. And so tomorrow, hopefully, if everything goes correctly, you'll see a brand new set here in studio. So we're excited for that. I'm excited to bring you back on again tomorrow, Forrest. Any parting words before we sign off?
No, just hang in there, manage risk. I'll give my thoughts. I personally think we've got another leg up. I don't think the bull market's over quite yet. I do think later in the year, if we do get another leg up, you want to be a little bit more cautious. Remember how this just moderate correction so far. I don't know how far it's going down, but remember how it stings. Remember how it feels when Bitcoin's at 90K, when Bitcoin's at 100K plus. And maybe that'll encourage yourself to take profits a little off the table to make sure you're paying yourself. But otherwise, just I think hang in there. Don't panic if price action starts crashing too bad. I personally I don't think the top is in. Could be wrong. Don't bet anything more than you're willing to lose. Just manage your risk. All the all the cliche normal stuff that everyone says.
But it's funny. It's cliche and everyone says it, but people still don't do it. So,
Yeah.
all right. With that being said, Raccatelli pasta.
I won't let it slide, that one. What is it?
You said Raccatelli?
Yeah, it's. I was watching Hell's Kitchen last night. And, they did a pasta challenge. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It was a pleasure to spend today with you. Come back tomorrow for an even better show. We love you guys. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Peace. Pasta challenge from someone that is not for me.
Tagliatelle.
So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Named according to your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I?